discretion advised. This is 10-Minute Murder.
Adrienne Levine was born on June 7, 1966, in Queens, New York. By 10 years old, she was already acting at the Stage Door Manor Performing Arts Training Center. She made her professional debut while still in high school in a production of Annie. After graduating, she enrolled in Boston University and majored in film production, but she dropped out and moved to Manhattan to pursue an acting career. It wasn't long before she caught the attention of Hal Hartley, as he cast her for some of his independent films. Her talent was recognized by both agents and audiences. She decided to go by the name Adrienne Shelly as a tribute to her father. She continued to get film roles and guest starred in several TV shows, including Law & Order, Oz, and Homicide: Life on the Streets. As much as she enjoyed being in front of the camera, she still loved performing for live audiences. Shelly starred in major roles in over 24 off-Broadway plays, often at Manhattan's Workhouse Theater. Although Shelly was a gifted actress, she became tired of the rampant sexism that she faced in the industry. She wanted to transition from a performer to a playwright, and she did. It turns out that she was also brilliant behind the camera. In 1999, she wrote, directed, and acted in the movie I'll Take You There, and won multiple film awards. She was quickly achieving every goal that she had set, except for one. She wanted a family. A new chapter in her life started in 2001 when she met Andy Ostroy on Match.com. Andy was the chairman and CEO at a marketing firm. The two instantly knew they were meant to be together. In 2002, they got married, and in 2003, they welcomed their beautiful daughter, Sophie. Being pregnant inspired Shelly, and she wrote another screenplay, Waitress. She not only wrote it, she directed it, acted in it, and helped with the set and costumes. The movie starred Kerry Russell. Finally, she had the family she dreamed of and the career she had worked so hard to achieve, but she didn't get to enjoy it for very long. On November 1st, 2006, Shelly was found dead. Andy had dropped her off at her office at 9:30 that morning. She used an apartment in the Abingdon Square of Manhattan's West Village as her office. They usually talked during the day, and he became concerned when he had not heard from her. He drove back over and asked the doorman to accompany him upstairs to the apartment in order to check on her. At 5:45 p.m., they found her hanging from the shower curtain rod with a bedsheet tied around her neck. The police were called, and after a very quick investigation, the NYPD thought it appeared to be a suicide. There was no noticeable evidence of foul play. Or was there? Andy noticed that the front door was unlocked. That wasn't normal. Shelly would have locked the door behind her. He also noticed that money was missing from her wallet. It all seemed suspicious to him. He insisted that she was an extremely happy person and happy with her life, personally and professionally, and she would not have taken her own life. He also knew that she would have never left her daughter motherless. Andy's protesting prompted further investigation. An autopsy found that she died from neck compression. But was she the one that tied the sheet? Upon a more in-depth exam of the crime scene, a sneaker print was found with dust on the toilet beside where the body was found hanging. The print matched other shoe prints in the building where construction work was being done. On November 6th, the police arrested Diego Pilco, a 19-year-old from Ecuador. He confessed, on tape, to attacking her and then faking her suicide. Originally, he said that she demanded that they keep the noise of the construction down. Out of anger, he threw a hammer at her. Afraid that she might complain about his behavior, which would no doubt get him deported, he followed her to her apartment. He said once she noticed that he was following her, she turned around and slapped him, and he punched her in the face. She fell down unconscious. Thinking that the punch had killed her, he decided to stage her death to make it look like a suicide. But the evidence that they had to this point did not support this story. According to his story, Shelly would have had trauma to her face and the back of her head, and the autopsy found neither. Pilko then changed his account during the trial phase in 2008. Now, he was claiming that he was returning from his lunch break and saw her entering an elevator. He knew that she had money, and he decided to rob her. He thought once she opened the door and went inside, he could sneak in the door behind her and grab her purse. It almost worked. He was in her door when Shelly saw him. She grabbed her phone and told him that she was calling the police. He managed to get the phone away from her and then covered her mouth to keep her from screaming. He must have prevented her from breathing also because she did become unconscious. He wrapped a sheet around her neck and dragged her into the bathroom where he hung her from the shower. That story seemed more plausible. It meant that he must have cleaned the crime scene after their scuffle because there would have been an evidence of struggle. The medical examiner did state that Adrienne was still alive when she was hung. There was some truth in Pilko's first statement. He wanted to make sure Shelly would not report him. Diego Pilko pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter and was sentenced to 25 years without parole. Since he was an immigrant in the country illegally, he was also scheduled to be deported to Ecuador after his release. On March 12, 2008, at Pilko's sentencing, Andy and other family members had the opportunity to speak. Andy said Adrienne Shelly was the kindest, warmest, most loving and generous person that he had ever met, that she was incredibly smart, funny, and talented. A bright light with an infectious laugh and a huge smile that radiated her inner and outer beauty. He said that Pilko was nothing more than a cold-blooded killer and that he would never forgive him, although that would not be the last time Andy and Pilko faced each other. At his arrest, Pilko still owed $12,000 for being smuggled into the United States. He was living in the basement of a building that his employer owned. Andy sued Pilko's employer, alleging that Shelly would still be alive had he not employed him, and that he did so knowing that he was here illegally. Andy even went after the owners of Adrienne's apartment building for hiring the contracting company. But on July 7, 2011, a judge dismissed the claims, saying that while he sympathized with Andy's loss, there was insufficient evidence to show that they were vicariously liable for the death. They had no reason to believe that Pilko was a danger to himself or others upon hiring him, and legal ground could not be determined to hold them accountable. Adrienne Shelly's memory has been kept alive in many different ways. In 2007, Law & Order did an episode that was based around her death. She had guest starred on an episode in the year 2000. Investigation Discovery also aired an episode about her. Andy wanted her to be more than just another statistic, more than a murder victim. He established the Adrienne Shelly Foundation, which gives scholarships, production grants, finishing funds, and living stipends to female artists. He created a memorial in Abington Square Park that faces the building where Shelly was killed. The Women's Film Critics Circle gives an annual Adrienne Shelly Award in her honor to a film that it believes passionately opposes violence against women. And Waitress was more successful than anyone could have predicted. In 2007, it was accepted into the Sundance Film Festival. After viewing it there, Fox Searchlight Pictures purchased the film for somewhere between $4 to $5 million. It made over $19 million in box office sales. The movie still holds over a 90% approval rating on film sites like Rotten Tomatoes. Critics loved the film, saying it boldly defied convention. They said Shelly had a magical sensibility and enduring sense of humor. One critic even said Waitress was the upside-down cake version of the Cinderella story. Shelly once said she tried to find what was funny in what was painful. The cast won awards, the screenplay won awards, and the film won multiple awards for Shelly's skillful directing. Waitress saw fame far beyond the screen when it later became a Broadway show. The musical had over 1,500 performances from 2016 to 2020. It was also the first musical with an all-female principal creative team. Even with the unfathomable grief that they faced, Shelly's family continued what she started. Andy even produced Serious Moonlight, another film written by Shelly before her death. It starred Meg Ryan and Kristen Bell. It premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival in 2009. Shelly was loved and admired, and her family and friends have made sure she will not be forgotten. On December 1st, 2021, a documentary directed by Andy Ostroy premiered on HBO. The documentary is called Adrienne. It explores her life, her murder, and her legacy. Andy even sits down in prison with her murderer, Diego Pilco, to discuss the day that changed both of their lives forever. Shelly's daughter, Sophie, read a note Adrienne had written in a journal. It said, "Don't be afraid of dying. Be afraid of never living." That's 10-Minute Murder for today. Brief and bingeable true crime. My name is Joe. I'm the host, and I really appreciate you taking the time to listen to my podcast. If you are new to 10-Minute Murder, make sure you hit subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts, and you're going to get connected with all of the back episodes when you do that. You can binge all of the previous episodes of 10-Minute Murder. Connect with me on social media, see pictures that we talk about here on the podcast. And if you like this episode, you can leave a rating and review any place that's possible. Quick email question for today. Hi, Joe. Malia in San Francisco here. Can you tell me what got you interested in true crime? Thanks for the show. Hi, Malia. Thanks for the email. When I was a kid, unsolved mysteries. I loved unsolved mysteries. Now, not all of that is true crime. Some of it's like alien stuff, which I also am interested in. Not to the degree of true crime. I used to be like way more into aliens than true crime, but then, I don't know, I just kind of transitioned when the O.J. Simpson trial happened. I was a kid in school and it was crazy. Like, it was crazy. Like we all were enamored. We were stuck around the TV watching this O.J. Simpson trial because it was something that we had really never seen before. It had never been televised in this way. So that got me really interested in the process and, the trial, how that all plays out. That got me really deep into it. And then past that, I stuck with court TV. Like, I continued watching court TV past the O.J. Simpson case. And that kind of morphed into what I'm doing now. All right, that's it. That's going to do it. Thank you for listening to another 10-Minute Murder podcast episode. I will see you on the next one. Bye.